What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. So as I mentioned last time, this is going to be a two-parter. In the last part of this scenario, we saw what happened with Buu in the first half of Super, finishing off with the end of the Goku Black arc. But it wasn't as cut and dry as it seems. Not only do we have the Tournament of Power coming up, but with the fact that Buu absorbs Zamasu, that might cause some problems later on, and we'll be touching upon that more in this video. For this part, let's hit a like goal of 3,500 likes, since I do it with pretty much all my videos. Anyways, let's pick up from here and finish off the story. So at first, Buu doesn't really notice any difference. He ate Zamasu, and he doesn't pay attention to it. It was a good snack, but he doesn't realize that this might have consequences later. Even though Zamasu was turned into a cookie, he's still immortal. He wasn't killed or sealed, he was just turned into a different form. It's kind of like we saw with Vegito. When he was turned into candy, he was still sentient. Although, Zamasu is stuck inside of Buu. He has no way out, especially in the form that he's in. But surely enough, he is in there, and he's trying to plot something. Unbeknownst to Buu and everyone else. About a year passes, and we get to the beginning of the Tournament of Power. In terms of the team, well, as you could expect, it would be pretty much the same, at least how it was intended originally. It's going to be the same exact group, except there's no Frieza because Buu doesn't fall asleep. He actually will be a part of the tournament, naturally. And he's going to be a really powerful addition to the team. Buu is pretty strong originally, but in this scenario he's even stronger than before because of the fact that he's training, and he has a better grasp on all his techniques and his fighting abilities. So besides just his power being greater, pretty much every other aspect of him is greater too. But that's not even the best part. The best part is his techniques. His vast array of techniques will be really helpful in this tournament. I mean, just consider the kind of things he could do. He can multiply himself infinitely. He's not going to run out of energy. He can regenerate. He could use magic. And best of all, he could heal people. No healing items are allowed, but there's nothing against people healing each other. Just like how flying wasn't allowed, but people that can naturally fly are able to fly when they want to. This is really going to help Universe 7 a lot. And going into the tournament, they feel really confident. Beerus hopes Buu performs well. And he even has a talk with the Majin beforehand. He brings up the pudding incident from before, and tells Buu he hopes he doesn't have any bad blood, and if he wins this tournament, he'll make sure Buu gets all the pudding he wants. As well as some for Beerus himself. Really, the one who's going to be supplying all the pudding is Bulma, but Beerus doesn't mention it. He's doing this as a good faith gesture. Also, so he can get pudding for himself. This hypes Buu up even more. He was ready to have a good fight in the tournament anyways, but now he has pudding as an incentive. He doesn't even care about the Super Dragon Balls. As far as he's concerned, someone else can get the wish. All he cares about is the fact that he gets good food in the end. And Mr. Satan hypes him up too. Mr. Satan is really proud of Buu. His best pal has come so far along in terms of power and in terms of his fighting abilities. It almost brings a tear to his eye. It's so sweet. Also, there wouldn't be a need for an exhibition match since there was no second Zeno. The tournament is still going to happen because this was planned from the start with the Universe 6 tournament, but without a second Zeno there's no need for the exhibition match. Not that the exhibition match would really matter anyways, it doesn't really affect much later on, and to be honest it would be really easy here. But besides Buu, the rest of the team is normal, both in terms of power and in terms of the roster itself. Goku and Mr. Satan have already made a good plan with Buu. They want to make sure he uses his abilities to the fullest. Right at the beginning of the tournament, Buu rips a piece of himself off, then lunging his hand into the ground, hiding a piece of him inside the arena. In the very off chance that he does get knocked out somehow, this piece of him will remain inside and he could just regenerate from that. And for more reassurance, he keeps doing this around the arena, creating more and more safety nets for him. Also, he could use these to attack. If anyone gets near any of them, and Buu notices, he can extend them out and grab their legs. This only takes a few seconds for him to do, and now that the tournament's actually begun, he'll spend all his time focused on actually fighting people. Not worried about being eliminated or anything. And as you'd probably expect, he'd be a really formidable foe. All of the other universes watch out for him. Universe 7 has some really strong fighters, especially people like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and 17. But Buu is a completely different class of warrior. In this scenario, he's about equal to Blue Kaioken Goku in terms of strength, which is still impressive on its own. But it's his techniques and abilities that make him so frightening. Think about it, it's basically impossible to eliminate him. He can stretch himself out if he needs to, grabbing onto the arena if he's ever knocked out, and if somehow that doesn't work, again, he just regenerates himself from the pieces that are already in the arena. He gets a lot of knockouts at first, and everyone's surprised to see how he performs. But something is bubbling up within him, something that he doesn't even know. Zamasu is still there, present in all of this. Given Buu's weird magical properties, he's kind of subdued, but Zamasu's trying to find a way to free himself. This would be the perfect opportunity. He's actually aware of everything that's going on, and he can sense that there's other gods nearby, as well as what's happening. Although in his cookie form, there's not much he can accomplish, especially inside of Buu's stomach. Mostly he's just glad that he hasn't been digested yet, thanks to his immortality, because that would be kind of disgusting. But as he senses everything that's happening and watches on, he's trying more and more to regain control. From what he remembers of Buu, he seems pretty mentally weak. He has an almost childlike demeanor. He waits for the perfect time to try and commandeer Buu. Eventually, Goku ends up facing Jiren. And Buu does want to help, but he stays out of this, knowing that Goku wants to handle it himself. But once Goku unlocks Ultra Instinct, that's what sets Zamasu off. That godly power. A mortal is pulling it off. Even as a cookie, he can't contain his anger. It's such a disgusting and unsightly display. As Goku faces Jiren, everyone watches on. But then they're distracted as something within Buu begins changing. There's a radical shift in his presence that everyone takes note of. And then he shouts, having a much different voice. Vegeta immediately recognizes who's talking, as well as Beerus, Whis, and Gowasu in the stands. Even Goku's briefly distracted by it, allowing Jiren to get a good hit on him. But even Jiren is caught off guard as Buu then jumps into battle, trying to fight Goku himself. Zamasu has taken control of him, and he begins maniacally laughing. He begins fighting Ultra Instinct Goku, and although he doesn't get far, he's definitely wearing Goku out. And Goku's just so surprised at all this that he just loses focus, even dropping out of Ultra Instinct. Is this actually Zamasu? The other universes just watch on confused, with some of them even laughing. Look at this, some of Universe 7's fighters are fighting each other. How stupid. But their laughter ceases as Zamasu then splits himself up, or I guess Bumasu would be a more appropriate name. While commandeering Buu, he knows all of Buu's techniques, and tries to use them to his advantage. Not only is he going to kill Goku and all those other mortals here, but this will be a perfect opportunity. Who needs Goku Black? Commandeering Buu's body will be more than enough to enact his plan. And even better, the Super Dragon Balls are right there for him to win. If he wins the tournament, not only will Zeno erase the other universes for him, but Zamasu can use the Super Dragon Balls to make a wish for himself. Another one. Beyond just his immortality, he'll wish for power even beyond Zeno. Something that will make him the supreme ruler of the multiverse, or at least whatever's left of it. And he won't even have to deal with the gods. Zeno will deal with most of them. Goku regroups with Vegeta. Wondering what's going on, Piccolo and Gohan watch as well. So this must be the Zamasu guy that they fought before. It's odd that he's able to control Buu somehow, but then they remember, Buu didn't actually seal him, he just ate him. They know Buu operates way differently than everyone else, and it's kind of weird to try and theorize how he works, but they're guessing that it has something to do with that. Piccolo thinks that Zamasu's still alive in Buu, controlling him fully now. And that's definitely an issue, especially with Buu's great power. They're suddenly accosted by Bumasu clones, and they try to fight him while also trying to get him to snap out of it. In the stands, Gowasu watches on in horror. This is all his fault. He can't believe Zamasu is still alive, and here of all places. Zeno contemplates erasing him, but this is actually pretty interesting to watch. Buu's turned evil and has become completely unhinged. Not only does this make for an enjoyable fight, but it'll make for a nice test. Zeno wants to also see how the mortals handle themselves against this threat. Maybe each universe will team up against a common enemy. Maybe they'll display some great power to overcome it. Who knows? As for Universe 11, they essentially have no trouble, mainly thanks to Jiren. He faces a bunch of Bumasu clones himself, and as he shows off more of his power, he's able to counter them pretty easily. But more and more of them keep generating from out of the ground, and he's not sure what's happening. The Bumasu army gets more and more overwhelming. More fighters are knocked out, even some from Universe 7. Buu was supposed to help protect everyone before and help them stay in the ring. But now, he's eliminated all the human fighters and 18. And he might even eliminate Goku due to how weak he is at this point after using Ultra Instinct. But Bumasu then faces the threat, one that's not external, but internal. Someone else is trying to take control of Buu, a presence that he sensed before but wasn't too aware of who it was. And within the main Buu, he encounters this person, the Grand Supreme Kai. He's been dormant within Buu, but with all this chaos going about, it's finally reawoken him. And he's not going to allow this evil Kai to take over. He and Zamasu begin a battle, a mental battle within Buu, as well as a physical one on a very small scale because they're just tiny people inside of Buu. Grand Supreme Kai is already aware of Zamasu's power. He is pretty strong for a Kai, and he's immortal. But he has a flaw. He's far too cocky. He's too confident in himself, and he thinks he's infallible. Luckily, the Grand Supreme Kai has dealt with threats like this before. Fighting a fellow magician that's too strong for him, this really brings him back to moral. He's able to seal Zamasu away, and then fully takes control of Buu, as Buu then morphs into the Grand Supreme Kai and stops fighting everyone. Everyone's confused as they see all the clones change appearance, and the gods all look on in shock. Is that another Kai? Wait, are they allowed to have a Kai on their team? Zeno allows it because it's kind of fun and interesting. And I mean, Toppa was allowed on Universe 11's team as a god of destruction, so if he lets that slide, he's gonna let this slide. Also, he wasn't even aware of this too. This is cool. The fighting even briefly stops, at least for Universe 7, and they ask what's going on. Grand Supreme Kai introduces himself and begins explaining. Some fighters from other universes begin fighting again trying to face the Buu clones, but Grand Supreme Kai easily fends them off. He tells everyone not to worry. even turning to Shin and Beerus in the stands and telling them it's all good. Shin is just amazed to see him again. He can't believe his master is not only still alive, but here in the flesh. Well, kinda, in Buu's flesh, I guess. But he's elated. The other Kais are just as amazed, and the gods. And Goasu breathes a sigh of relief. Yeah, that could have really gotten out of hand, and the blame would have been placed on him. The Grand Supreme Kai is here to help them for this battle. With the multiverse at stake, he means business, and he has the perfect way to end this battle quickly. He restores Goku's power, and tries to tap into his mind, seeing if he could find Ultra Instinct in there again. Goku's not sure what he's doing, but the Grand Supreme Kai is trying to calm him somehow, seeing if he could find that same power within Goku once more. And while Goku tries to access that again, Grand Supreme Kai heals everyone else on his team, and gets back to work immediately. Buu's body is pretty fun to work with, but Buu would probably be better suited to do that himself. So, he gives control back to Buu and his appearance changes once more, with Buu laughing as he comes back. Everyone's kinda weirded out by how casual he's acting about all this, but Buu's just having a good time, and with the Grand Supreme Kai influencing him, he quickly gets his head back in the game. Together with each remaining Universe 7 fighter, there's a Buu copy, with them multiplying more and more to take out the other fighters. But still, Jiren is a pretty big threat. Although as they take out more and more fighters, that frees up more fighters from Universe 7 to actually fight Jiren. And eventually, this leads to the entire team with an army of Buus, facing off against Jiren alone. And Goku remembers what Grand Supreme Kai was telling him, what he was trying to access before. His training from Whis, hell, his training from everyone in his past. All of that culminates here, and he needs to access Ultra Instinct again. He calms himself, trying to remember that feeling he had before. As the army of Buus and all the other fighters take on Jiren, they then see a massive geyser of ki, and once again, Goku taps into Ultra Instinct, although still an omen. The other Buus look on clapping, as Goku jumps in the fight with a better grasp on UI Omen and more power. And even though strength-wise he probably wouldn't be able to match Jiren at this point, consider the fact that he has everyone else around him helping him, especially all those Buu clones. Buu's even able to help restrain Jiren a bit. And while Goku does want to have a great fight with Jiren, the multiverse is at stake, and he tells Jiren he would love to have a fight with him later on. But for now, they need to eliminate him. And together, he's overcome by the army of Buus, as they swarm him and hold him in place, with Goku then firing off a massive Kamehameha, breaking off a giant chunk of the arena as Jiren falls into the void. And clearly, Buu's gonna be the MVP here. I mean, look at all the great stuff he's done. They're kinda worried about what he's gonna wish for, but the Grand Supreme Kai's influence is very helpful. He could wish for a bunch of candy and stuff, but even better, why not just wish everyone back? That would be pretty fun. And he can enjoy more battles again if they all come back to life. So, he wishes to restore every universe. Everyone looks on surprised, wondering if Zeno's gonna be mad, but Zeno's actually happy about this. This is exactly what he wanted, and he's been pretty impressed so far. Not only did the wish go correctly, but the way everyone reacted once Zamasu showed up, at least in Buu's body. Maybe these mortals aren't so bad after all. So, what happens next following this? Well, there's not gonna be a Broly movie. I know, this happens in my scenarios a lot, but this movie's actually really easy to avoid. Without Frieza there, there's no real reason for the Broly movie to happen. I mean, maybe down the line there would be some way for Broly to come into the story, but without Frieza or his army to bring him in here, there's no real reason for him to actually be here now. So, following that would be the Moro arc, and as you'd probably expect, it would be really easy. I mean, look at how the whole arc started. It started with Maris and the Galactic Patrol trying to reawaken Buu, or at least the Grand Supreme Kai within him. And with Buu actually being much less lazy, he's not actually asleep here. And Goku and Vegeta know exactly what they're trying to do already. The Grand Supreme Kai has actually already shown himself before, so it's not too hard to see him again. It's kind of funny in a way, he was just thinking about Moro during the tournament. Oddly enough, he has to face him again, but it's a pretty easy battle. Goku and Vegeta don't even go along. They just take Buu with them, or I guess the Grand Supreme Kai, and he makes really quick work with Moro. Wow, that made life really easy. Again, this is another really easy arc to avoid simply because the Grand Supreme Kai is already present in the story. Like, I was trying to think of a way to make this arc more interesting, but since the Grand Supreme Kai already showed up, realistically this wouldn't even be an arc. It would just be a single encounter between the two. Although, the story wouldn't really end here. Of course, we do have Granola coming up, and I might make a separate part to that depending on how long that arc's gonna be and what actually happens in that. But disregarding that, we could actually end off the scenario here for now. So, what did you guys think about this story? And what do you think would have gone differently if Buu actually trained? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. It lets me know that you guys want to see more content like this video. Speaking of that, if you haven't already, why not subscribe? And hit that bell icon so you're notified about any future videos that I upload, including more content like this one. It really helps out the channel, and it'll directly send you my videos once they're posted. Anyways, Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to all my YouTube members for supporting the channel. I'll see you all in my next video.